Good evening. I have fallen down a bit of a rabbit hole that is, I like card games. and I just know that at some point this is going to end up with, first, getting into Magic the Gathering in real life, and then subsequent to that, filing for bankruptcy. So, look forward to that, I guess. But for now, we have this really cool World War II themed collectible card game that I found. I have about 15 hours in it in the Steam release, and I'm certain a lot more than that because I've primarily been playing it on mobile, actually. Like many games of this general category, there is a mobile port, and the mobile port is pretty good. So, we're gonna see how far I can get in this. I'm gonna try and maybe enter a draft tonight. That's always fun. That's good content, I think. And other than that, we'll do some more, just ranked play, deck building. I'll show off some different nations and stuff. Anyway, let's go ahead and switch over. Okay, welcome to Cards. This game has a terrible name. I don't understand why they would choose to call it Cards, just with a K. That's the most generic name that I've ever heard. Like, why? Why would you do that? But here we are. And I think to get the flavor of it, let's just go ahead and play a match. And I'm going to jump right in with the deck that got me... Actually, I'll show you where my rank is right now. They just started a new season at the end of the month, and I was at this point. I was rank 8 major. So I have played a lot of this game, as you can see, and my goal by the end of April is to reach rank 1, Field Marshal. I think I can probably do it. My deck is good enough. It seems like with what I've been doing... this United States deck that I've been playing that I've called Greyhound, this deck wins lots of the time. So let's take a look at it and I'll explain like what this deck is and what the various units do that are important to it. So this game is a little bit like Magic the Gathering, except it doesn't have lands. So you get a rolling, increasing number of points that you can use. I think they're called credits, that allow you to either play cards or attack or move with the units that you've deployed. And that'll make a lot more sense once we actually start the game. The units that are in this deck that are important, unfortunately, are not shown here, because this is just this is every card that I have for these two nations. But the ones that are important that you'll want to know about are the M8 Greyhound. This is what the deck is named after. This card is really, really good, as you'll see. It's very cheap, it moves up quickly, and it's pretty hard to dislodge early on. Other cards that are important here, the War Machine gives you extra credits. Yes, so they are in fact called credits, and yes, they are spelled with a K. So this increases your economy, it lets you deploy better stuff faster. This unit does the same thing, except it's a unit, and it also gives your HQ more defense. HQ is like your life points in this game, except your HQ is also a card, which is interesting. That has some effects. Let's see, other things in this deck that matter. This is one of the sort of semi-win condition type cards that are in this deck. I got this because the PBY Catalina is my favorite aircraft in real life. And it's also a really good card. It gives you effectively 3 draw per turn, but you have to discard one thing. It doesn't force you to choose one of the 2 cards that you draw from this to put back on top of your deck, which is what I thought when I put this in my deck to begin with, but it turns out it can be anything in your hand. So this gives you a huge amount of control over what is in your hand, and that's a really good thing in this game. There are surprisingly few ways to increase your draw in this, for the kind of game this is. Let's see, what else is important? Right, so these are the Finland units, and these guys are my main source of removal. So, both this card, which is played like as a sorcery, if you're familiar with how Magic works, And also, this unit, the Jaeger Battalion, all five of those cards deploy an extra unit that's a 1/1, but anything that the 1/1 deals damage to is immediately destroyed. So it's really, really strong removal. Really, the only thing that stops it is if you have a unit that has armor, which a few things do, but not most things. The reason that Frozen Assets is strong and worthwhile, even though it costs 4 for a 1/1 unit, is the 1/1 unit that it deploys has Blitz, which means that you can use this to deploy that on the front line, which will make sense in a moment, and then immediately destroy something on the back rank. That's a really valuable thing. This is one of the ways this deck wins games. And then there's two more cards I think that are important. One of them is Stars and Stripes. This is also kind of removal. It just deals flat damage to everything in the enemy support line, so their back rank. And it deals more damage the more units there are there. So if they've deployed the maximum of 4, that deals 4 damage to all of those units, and that usually destroys everything. And then this unit, 2nd California, this thing always hits for 5, and it always takes 1 damage in return. So it has just total damage reduction, and is very, very hard to dislodge unless your opponent has just hard removal. One of the few ways to get rid of that is something like just like dropping bombs on it with a effectively a sorcery card. Okay, so with that little bit of preamble out of the way of what this deck does, let's go ahead and actually play a game, and I'll show you how that works in practice. This will be ranked. Let's go. One thing I really like about this so far is that the matchmaking has generally been very quick. I don't know how many people play this game, but it's definitely enough. Like, I never have to wait more than, like, a minute or so to have a match in ranked. And that seems to be true for, like, any time of day. And I've seen opponents with names in multiple different languages. This game apparently is played in Russia, and it's played in various places in Asia. I've seen both Japanese and Chinese characters. Don't know where this person is from. Okay, so there is a slight timer here, so there's a limit on how much I can explain right away. I'm just going to go ahead and discard We Can Do It for now. 463rd is the worst card in my deck. I should really take it out. I will play it first. My opponent here is playing Japan, and in general, what Japan wants to do is play cards that are fast. Generally, they have 0 cost, and often Japanese units want to destroy themselves because they get bonuses for blowing up. Thematic. Oh, I forgot to end my turn. Thanks for reminding me, Noislav. Alright. So this is why the Greyhound is good. This unit costs 1, and once you deploy it, it has Blitz, which means it can move up immediately. I think in Magic terms, that's the ability Haste. This is an example of a unit for Japan that wants to destroy itself, because when you do, you get a new one from your deck. I don't have anything to play here, so I'm just going to move up, and I'm not going to get this unit's job done for it, so I'm just going to shoot at the HQ. I attack your life points directly. That's a reasonable trade for my opponent to make there. So this is a Soviet card, which means that my opponent has both Japanese and Soviet units. Soviet decks have a kind of similar strategy to what Japan does. And they like to generate a lot of very cheap units that can move up quickly and just overwhelm you with numbers. That is very unusual what my opponent just did. So this is an aircraft, but he's deployed it in the front line. I almost never see anybody do that. I almost never do that. And I'm very surprised that my opponent would. And I'm curious as to why. It's possible there's some strategy that they're using that I don't quite understand. But if you're going to waste turns with that, then I'm just going to play War Machine, and I'm not even going to bother attacking you, because I have better credits right now. I don't have anything in particular to deploy that would be useful here. The M7 Priest is artillery, but I really should only deploy it if I have the front line, because then it gets +2/+1. Okay, I still don't understand what my opponent's doing with this plane. I have an option here to deploy this unit, which forces a retreat. If you retreat an enemy unit in the back line, it just puts it back in their hand. And that's not so much a problem for Japan, because their units tend to be very cheap. But infantry can't move and shoot, which means that if I move the 24th Cavalry back, that's much more annoying to my opponent than if I were to put Akita back in his hand, I think. So we're going to do that. I still think the placement of this I-15 is stupid, and I'm just going to leave it there for now. And now I'm going to deploy this unit, because as long as there's units to the left and to the right of it, it gets +2 for each. So this is a really strong... This is a really big number. Most numbers in this game don't go higher than, like, 8 or 9. What the... This guy has an elephant! I don't think I've ever seen this unit before. That's cool. Okay, so do I want to trade out here? I am hesitant to deploy the Catalina because it's a bomber, and bombers can't fight back. I've got a couple of things that really want me to have the front line before I can deploy them, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and drop California here. I still think that the I-15 being here is stupid, and so I'm going to shoot this guy. My opponent gets to draw it, but that's fine. We still have this thing as well to take care of. This thing will deal 2 damage to a random unit when it dies, which means it could actually kill my California, but that's fine because I have another one. Irritating. That's a really bad trade for me, but whatever. Yep, that sure is what happened. Okay, just gonna end my turn there. I like what my opponent has to say there. Damn. Very nice. I still don't see what the deal is with this plane, but, whatever. It's there, I guess. The reason that all of that happened is that he has this thing which doubles the destruction effect of enemy units, which is also really bad for me if I ever decide to kill this plane, because it means he'll get 2 fighters for free. That's really dumb. I think I'm okay to deploy the Catalina here, though, actually. Because this thing can only attack for 1, annoying as it is. And you know what? I'll just deploy the other California. Why not? This thing damages my HQ when it dies. What I really would like is some way to remove this thing, which is hard because it has smokescreen and therefore I can't target it. Like, I couldn't use my bomber against it, unfortunately. Alright, so I got 3 cards, and frankly, none of them are that useful. I think what I'm going to put back is the Priest. I can't imagine I'm going to be using that anytime in the immediate future. play this. I don't think there's any reason not to. My opponent has a really good deck. I should probably compliment that. This is an interesting strategy that he's got going. I'm going to deploy this as cannon fodder to remove that. And actually, if I kill this thing right now, the second one will go to his hand, so that's not so bad. And then I can move up here and finally play this, which seems reasonable, and then I'll... Oh, he's got fighters, darn. I was going to bomb something, but you can't bomb unless the fighters are cleared out. Oh boy, that deals... Well, how much damage? 4 to my HQ. Ouch. Oh, yep, well that's GG. Yeah, that guy's deck was really cool. That was some cool synergy he had going on with all the destruction effects. This, the elephant unit is actually really good, as it turns out. And it was a good idea to pair that thing with Soviet allies, because Soviet units also often have destruction effects. Like, you didn't see it, but that infantry unit that he deployed pretty late on his back rank, that unit deploys a 1/1 light infantry with 0 movement cost. That's one of the things that the Soviets very often do. But he would have gotten 2 of those if that had ever been destroyed while the elephant was out. Okay. Here I didn't draw anything cheap other than War Machine, but because I drew War Machine, it's not quite so bad that that happened. I think I'm going to drop the Privateer here. This is potentially pretty useful against Japan. And obviously removal is always good. So this card either repairs all of my units or damages all of the units. Actually, this applies to your opponent as well, for the repair part. So I could just kill this thing, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm just going to end my turn and see what else my opponent deploys. Japan has a lot of units, particularly infantry, that only have 1 HP, so it's very easy to destroy them with stuff like that. I think I'll drop this thing next. This thing gets a +1/+1 when it goes to the front line. And it has 3 HP, so he can't destroy it immediately. This thing has extra attack if I don't have any air units, which is irritating. Gunship mission would deal 2 damage to this guy, but not 3. Unfortunate. I think I'm going to deploy 463 and then play War Machine. Already taking pretty significant amount of HQ damage. Tends to be what happens when you play against Japan. Now that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen Japan and Finland together. Finland is my ally, so this is a unit that's also in my deck. Okay, so I think I do this, and then I move up here, and now that I have the front line, I can deploy the Priest, and that makes it a 3/3. So he could destroy that with his fighter, but then the fighter would also die. Artillery can counterattack against aircraft. Okay. So this is the salvage mechanic. This is what a lot of Finnish units do. And when you when you destroy a unit with a unit that has salvage, it adds a copy of it to your hand, That's 1/1 by default. This unit makes it 4/4 if you deploy it. So that was a good idea, what he just did. Let's see, what am I doing here? If I play this and then shoot, then I destroy this thing. I don't necessarily need to because it's infantry and it can't attack immediately. But I also can't safely take the front line. There's also this. I think this is a better option, actually. Oh boy. Well, that's the way it goes. I have literally the same card in my hand right now, so I can't really complain, can I? Okay, so destroying this thing is a priority, because that's what's making his salvaged units more powerful. What's the best way to do that? Oh, do I have enough to do that? Let's see. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so if I shoot this thing, then I can deploy this guy. Oh, shoot, no, I'm one short. Damn. Alright. I'm just gonna leave you there, then. And we will... I'll play this tank. That's fine. Fortunately, this thing is still infantry, so it must move up if it wants to attack directly, which means he's forced to use other things if he wants to salvage them. Oh, man, that's really annoying. Yeah, this guy is playing, like, almost exactly the same strategy as my deck, except he's paired with Japan rather than the United States. That's fine. I think this is a point where I need to use Stars and Stripes. Because that will destroy the CC, and that matters a lot. I can now also... Oh, I can't quite, because it's ambush. Right. Well, I can kill it with Gunship Mission. Oh, you know what? This is how I fix this. Gunship Mission... And then I use supply priorities and damage all units, and both of these things die. Also hurts my units, but I think that's probably fine. Worth it to get rid of a lot of that stuff. He had some very annoying units out. That's fine. That's also fine, I guess. These guys generate cards when they're damaged. Not the end of the world. Do I deploy this? This guy is kind of a non-threat at the moment. He knows I have the California because these guys have intel. I don't have any way to repair the California, which means he can burn it down just with weak attacks. Which is not ideal. But you know what? These guys are also kind of weak. I think I'm just going to move up with the Sherman. And I will deploy California, because why not? If he doesn't manage to dislodge the Sherman, then I can pull that same trick with the Frozen Access salvage CC. Neither of these units are worth doing that for, but if he deploys anything worthwhile, which he very much can with 7 credits, I can just immediately remove it. This is also a salvage unit, which repairs itself when it salvages. Ouch. Yep, I have found that too. There's several cards in my deck that allow me to repair units, and those pair very well with the 2nd California. Okay, so how do I deal with this guy? Mitchell won't destroy it, but I can move up with the California, play this. This guy doesn't have ambush, fortunately, and then I can just steal it. Neat. And I have no way to make use of this thing's ability while it's at 1-1, so I'm just going to wait and see what he plays. So he played a guard unit. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but a unit with guard forces you to attack it rather than anything that's adjacent to it. He also deployed a 0, which has ambush, which means that it will shoot first. In Magic terms, that would be first strike, I guess. So I can't shoot the plane because it's been guarded. That's fine. I think we definitely played this. It would be really inefficient for him to shoot at the privateer with his 0, and he wouldn't even kill it. So I feel like putting this down is a reasonable idea here. And then what? If he shoots at the California with the 0, then it just dies. And otherwise, I'd be doing the same thing. So I'm just going to leave it there and leave it for him to figure out what to do about this unit. He does, in fact, shoot at that. All right. That's a lot of resources to put into that. That cost him 4 credits to do it. I tend to think that's not worth it, but maybe it is. Ooh, that's pretty mean. Fortunately, salvaged California is pretty useless. I mean, it's annoying that he got rid of it, but... that was a lot of text, and I'm not sure exactly what it was. Okay, here we go. I finally got that card myself, which means the Winter Regiment is actually useful to me now. Alrighty, so now we're gonna bomb that. Oh, right, you can't bomb things that have fighters on them. Shoot. Okay. Well, fortunately, this thing has Blitz, so... I guess I'll just move up with that. And if he wants to kill the fighter, he can, but... or if he wants to kill the bomber, he can. But, he's gonna get salvaged if he does. I guess that's what the card that he just played did. No, no, he's got another one! Oh well. It happens. Gross. Now that thing becomes veteran if you haven't played one yet, which is bad. He says good game, he's probably right. Let's be real. Okay, so this thing can kill his fighter, but I also die, so that's just a trade out. Probably worth it. I can force one of his units to retreat. This deals 3 damage to a random one. Actually, it's worth retreating this because then it won't come back as veteran. That's usually a reasonable idea. What I'd like to do is have the Mitchell deploy and kill that, which is difficult to accomplish, but possible. We'll get rid of this. He can't make a whole lot of progress here, because he's just got infantry. That's fine. Damn. Yep, GG. Oh boy. Well, I don't think there's any way out of this one. I'm just gonna deploy this, I guess. And we'll play this. There we go. I've played 2 Catalinas, therefore I win, I guess. That unit is very much worthwhile to play salvaged when you have it as a 4/4. Rip. Yeah, so this guy just had a better salvage deck than mine. Might as well play this, who cares? I'm not sure he meant to do that. I think probably he meant to shoot, but it doesn't matter. Oh, maybe he did just so he could play that. He's played like all of my units. That's wonderful. I mean, is there a reason he's not just attacking my HQ? I'm gonna play this for 10 credits, why not? Yes, that is correct. He has too many cards because of the Catalina. I have had that problem before. At this point, this is entirely just a flex. Hey, I have more credits than you! Okay, this is silly. I'm just gonna surrender. Well, that didn't start so well. Sorry about that. I swear this deck usually has a pretty good win rate. But now let's do the thing that I think will be better content, and that is draft. Okay, so what are we going to start with? I'm going to go with Germany, I think, because we just played with USA a lot. Okay, so you get 3 cards at a time, or sometimes pairs of cards, and you get to choose how to build your deck. And you go until you got 40 cards. I think... I've played this card a few times. I don't think it's that great. It's pretty easy to dislodge, which means it's really only useful when you have that in combination with artillery. I think it's a pretty niche use. I mean, it's definitely fine for what it costs, but I don't know if I want 2 of them in a deck. Sudden Strike is really strong. That's an excellent remove, particularly early on. It's a very cheap remove. And 28th Jaeger Regiment. I think I like this the best of these 3. Okay, options here. Spoils of War is pretty good. That gives you choice of what cards to get. 81st Infantry is also pretty strong. Expensive, though, for what you get. And Panzer 1B is interesting. The veteran version gives you another one, so it's relatively cheap and it duplicates itself, which is kind of cool. I don't think I've ever actually used this card. Let's do that. Oh, that's really mean. So this thing forces discard, and lots of decks don't have very good draw. So this is a really annoying card to deal with. This card is a rare instance of a card that has a drawback. And it's only a 4/4, and it costs 4. I feel like this seems like a really bad card to me. I'm going to go with the Dornier. Okay, and so now I get to choose an ally. So I can have United States, I can have Poland, or I can have Germany. Having Germany just means it's a pure German deck. I don't think I've ever played Germany-Poland before. That's kind of like the unholy alliance from hell. But I guess we'll do it, just for variety's sake. So now Polish cards will also appear in the in your set. Having 4th Pioneer is a good idea. That's a pretty effective, cheap card. It has a nice deployment effect, but I don't think the deployment effect is like necessary to get good value out of it. There are lots of cards in this game that are 1/3s that cost 1. The Greyhound is another example of that. I think the Greyhound is better than this, but this deployment effect is also pretty nice. It gives this card some utility that the Greyhound doesn't have late game. I think we're going to go with that, yeah. Seems reasonable. This is one of many Polish cards that has Exile, which stack with other units that have that tag. It just makes other Exile units +1/+1 and cheaper to operate, which is cool. Volksgrenadier is no ability, but I mean 3/6 for 3 is pretty efficient. It's not bad. This Heinkel's ability kind of sucks. And it's also only a 4/5. I don't know that I like this too much. I'm going to go with the Hurricane. I've never seen this card before. This makes your Legion unit get +1/+1. Units are cards that are spawned by other Polish stuff, and I don't think it's worthwhile to have this until I know for a fact that those are going to be in my deck. This card is pretty cool if you want to just steamroll. It's not useful otherwise. It's very good early game. And the Stuka I've used a few times. This card is also pretty good. And that's interesting because I've now got 2 different cards that cause discard when they attack between the Dornier and the Stuka. So that seems like it's thematic for this deck. Let's take that. Now, from now on, I'm going to be eyeing any cards that have an ability like that just like shut down your opponent's ability to do things. Gathering Storm is it's fine, I guess. It's not the best use of 8 credits, I don't think. Combined Arms is really good if you have a bunch of different unit types, which this deck does so far, so that's worthwhile. Daring Strike, I feel like 4 cost for 2 damage to any target is useful already. I don't think this needs to be cheaper. I think this is efficient enough even if I don't get that bonus, which I might because I've already got 2 cards with Exile, so I think we're going to take that. There's another card with Exile, so that's another combo with those things. We've also got this thing again. I don't like that. This guy's a 5/6 tank. That's pretty tough. But it's also only one of them in the deck, and it's pretty expensive. I'm going to go with Lysander. Missing is really mean. That just destroys anything that moves to the front line. You do not want that. This thing only matters if I have a lot of tanks. This thing allows me to have as many cards as the enemy does, which is probably bad since I'm making them discard, so I think we're going to take Missing. This is a way to spawn Legions, which are a 2/2 with Guard, and they get better if you have Intel, which a lot of Polish cards have. Intel just shows you 1 card in your opponent's hand. Rally is interesting. Removing Pin doesn't matter very often, because most of the time your units don't get pinned. But the +1 on this turn is nice, even if you don't care about that. And it replaces itself, which is cool. Cards that allow you to draw are pretty valuable in general. I definitely like this better than these two options. Okay. This is direct damage. That's sometimes useful, depending on what else the deck does. This is another Panzer 1B, so I can have 2 of those in the deck, which means I have a lot of that available. Panzer 1A is Germany's Greyhound. Instead of the support effect, it gets Smokescreen, which means it can't be targeted immediately. Smokescreen is useless once it moves or attacks, but that's usually fine. Like, you can deploy this and then rely on it just like being there. I think I like having another one of these. Here, I think there is no question. I'm definitely going to be going with this thing, P11. Pummel is pretty good. That's just straight up removal, but I've already got some of that. Eagle Day, I've never used this. I don't know why you would ever want to use this. It seems like you could... I don't exactly know how it works, and it seems like you could only use it if you also already have a German plane in your hand. So you, like, attack once with a plane and then remove it from the board and put it back in your hand. Which I guess is useful because it means, like, your opponent can't attack it. So I guess if you have a bomber, maybe. It just, like, lets you put a bomber into play and then get rid of it so it's protected. But it also costs 5, which is pretty ridiculous. I don't see why you would want this, necessarily. We're going to go with the P11. Okay. And now we get these options. Stranglehold is interesting. It just stops your opponent after they drop a unit, but if they deploy at the end of the turn, that doesn't matter so much. This thing is an immediate threat because it becomes a 3/3 once it becomes Veteran, which is cool. But you have to protect it on the front line until that happens, which in most cases that means you probably need something with Guard, which this deck doesn't have. The Flammpanzer is a decent unit, and it also is good removal. This eliminates a unit that costs 1, which a lot of nice, like, cheap units do. So I think we're going to take this thing. Flammpanzer is a pretty good name, yeah. Oh boy, this is pretty neat. Duplicate an exile unit, and then they both get a +2 and -1 operation cost. So that means I can duplicate this thing, and, like, all of them would get, like, +3/+3. Jesus. That could be something. I think we're taking that. Okay. This thing... Oh, that's more discard. I think this is what we want here. But let's take a look at the other options. A bomber with Fury is pretty nice. I find Fury is not very good most of the time because units can shoot back. But you can't shoot back against bombers, so that just makes this thing effectively a 2/3, sort of, but you can split the damage. That's not too bad for 2 cost. I would consider that if Wolfpack weren't here. And then these guys... It's good defensively, but I think we're going to go with the thematic option. Okay, so we have Scatter Tactics. I've used this a couple of times, and I don't like it all that much. It just nerfs the enemy attacks, but it's only really useful if they have a lot of cards on the board already, which is a situation where you're usually losing. This guy is unusual in that he likes to be alone. Most units in Germany's deck don't have that, or don't have that consideration. They tend to synergize with each other. But this guy likes being the lone wolf, for whatever reason. I mean, a 3/3 for 3 is already reasonable. You can do better, but it's not awful. Do I need the Panzer IIA? It's only one of them, which is odd. Usually for a unit like this, you would get more than one in draft. I think I have enough cheap stuff at this point. I guess we'll try Scatter Tactics. That's another, like, disruption, make your experience of the game suck type card. This thing has a nerf, which means it can't attack the HQ, but it's still a bomber with Blitz, which is pretty good. This thing has Pincer, which means that both it and one other unit of your choice have the ability that follows that, which means it's giving this thing and something else armor. And that would be amazing if it were affecting a plane, which is pretty likely here. So I think we're going to take this guy. Also, it's a 3/4. It's just a pretty powerful tank. This thing is Polish, but it's not Exile, which is odd. And it's an ambush unit that's 1/1. I don't see the point of this other than intel. Eagle Claws is great. That's one of the best cards in Germany, I think. So we're going to take that. Ooh, we got a submarine. It's going to be very hard for me to not take that unless there's something else here that's better. Do we already have Missing? Yeah, we do, actually. Another copy of Missing could be pretty mean. This thing activates countermeasures, which are cards with this question mark icon, which I think at the moment is only Missing, so this is a bad idea. Do I want U-48, though? This card is a win condition under certain circumstances. Like, if I control the front line and I play this, it's very hard for my opponent to recover from that. And unlike Missing, I don't have to just depend on my opponent triggering it. I get to choose when this gets played. I think U-48 is stronger. And yeah, good point. If my opponent has a lot of cards, then my discard stuff is better. Oh, geez. Do I want to have 3 tanks added to the deck? I mean, they all have Exile and Heavy Armor, so they're pretty good tanks. Given the amount of bonuses I have for things with Exile, maybe I do, actually. I'm very surprised to be making this choice, but I think that's where we are. Okay. Oh man, it's also going to be very hard for me to choose anything other than the card that has a Destroyer on it. Just makes it harder for my opponent to play cards. And it has Exile, so it benefits other things, I suppose. I'm not sure. I don't know how Exile works on cards that aren't units. The Stug is also really good. That's just a straight-up tank destroyer. Hence the ability. If I choose this, it's my last Polish card. You can only have 12 cards of the ally in your deck. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Okay, so now we've got the rest of our German stuff, and I have 7 more cards that can be in the deck. This thing damages the HQ, which is fine, I guess. I can have another one of these things. Usually having multiple of a card in a deck is a good idea if you like that card. This thing is also very strong, though. That's like immediate removal, where your opponent loses the unit, they lose the credits, they lose time, they lose cards. It's mean. And it only costs 1. Like, 3 damage for 1 credit is nuts. That's really strong. This card is very, very strong, but I don't have anything else with Alpine in my deck to combine it with. So I think I'm just going to go with this Panther and have a big old tank. 4 cards to go. This gives me draw. I don't want 3 of these, I don't think. I think we'll go with this. I can have 2 more of these. How many do I have already? I only have 1 of them. So I can have all 3 of those cards that are allowed to be had. So everything is going to have heavy armor. And I guess that makes sense because I've got a lot of tanks in my deck. And if this ever happens with the T-34, then the T-34 gets heavy armor 2, and damage reduction 2 is very difficult to get past. So you know what? I think we will do that. Alright, last... Holy shit! I have never seen this before. This card is pretty strong, but it's also 12 cost. I don't know that I'll ever be able to play that, but it sure is cool. Exploit the Gap is also pretty cool. So I just draw 3 units and draw a unit and it gets Blitz and becomes free. Man, it's very hard not to choose the King Tiger. It's kind of a meme, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta do it. Here we go. It's King Tiger. Let's go. Alright, let's see how this deck goes. So, the way draft works in this game is you get a bunch of... You get to play against other people who are drafting, and as long as you keep winning, you can keep going. And the more wins you get, the more rewards you get for doing it. I think the most I've ever gotten is like maybe 3 or 4. But I was also a lot worse at this game the last time that I did it. If you lose 3 times, you're done. Oh yeah, heavy armor 2 with the heavy armor pincer. Also, yeah, like, once you get to heavy armor 3, basically the only thing that can defeat you is removal. Just straight up removal. Here we go. Let's make my opponent's life miserable. That seems to be what this deck is for. I apologize in advance to anybody playing against me here, because you will not have a good day. At least that's the plan. I'm not surprised the matchmaking for draft is a little bit slower. There we go. We drew the King Tiger way too early. Bye-bye. Other than that, I think these cards kind of match well, so... What else do we get? Careless Talk. Okay, that's a good thing to draw. Alright, this thing has a smoke screen and gives HQ defense when I destroy other things. I'm going to go ahead and deploy this thing. That makes the T-34 cost 3. And the T-34 will also make this card cost 2. We do Wolf Pack. It's pretty nice. I'll be satisfied with this unit's value if I get to deploy at least one thing. I can't deploy anything right now. Do I want to use Careless Talk? You have to choose whether to activate cards like this. This early in the game, I kind of doubt that a Soviet player is going to just deploy anything that's, like, worth killing. I'd rather just save that. Next turn I'll have Dealer's Choice here, because the T-34s will be ready, and so will the Stug. This thing is bad. That's a problem. So we're going to deploy this. And now this remove is much cheaper, which is good. If he doesn't move up and attack, which is kind of inefficient and also wouldn't be a good idea, I don't think. If he doesn't do that, then I'm going to deploy the Stug and give this thing heavy armor too. From the People deals 3 direct damage. That was a reasonable choice, given the kind of deck that I evidently have. I think it's worth here moving up with this guy and then playing the Pioneer to give it a 4 or 5. And then I'm going to activate Careless Talk. I think a 5-cost unit has a reasonable chance to be strong. Yep, I was right. That is a good thing to deal damage to. Oh, this thing has a flamethrower. I didn't know that. Okay, so... yeah, there we go. We're getting to it. Now this thing is repaired, and also is cheaper to operate. Also, this thing is now 3. Holy shit. This guy is not guard. So I'm going to let you attack if you want, and I'm just going to shoot the HQ. So far, this deck is doing what I wanted it to. I'm happy. I might play Wolfpack next turn to get rid of this Engineer Battalion. I don't think that was a very good choice. Ah, I see. I now understand why he did that. It was not a bad choice, actually. Oh boy! We got it! Oh, that is beautiful! Well done, this deck. Well done. Boom! That's what you like to see. I'm not surprised. He kind of had to start doing things like this. Like, this has now become a problem that he's not going to solve any other way. Besides just, like, accepting massive losses. Oh, surrender. Ouch. Yep, well, that deck did exactly what it was supposed to do. I love it. Let's do it again. I couldn't agree more. That was one of the more fun matches I've had in this game. Poland kind of slaps, as it turns out. Which, like, if you know anything about, like, the way that Poland fought in actual World War II, that's, like, completely accurate. The Polish units that fought with the British consistently had just balls of steel. I don't think it's worth playing this to buff this plane. I don't think this plane is very good. It is cheap. It's got that going for it. What does this guy do? That's kind of a silly ability. I don't like that ability at all. That's an awful idea. But, you know, it's fine, I guess. I just don't think a 2-3 for this plane is all that good. And heavy armor still destroys it, so... I think I'm just going to deal 2 damage to this guy and then play Scatter Tactics. Yes, it does. Sort of. That was a tremendous waste of that card. That's a very good card, and I think that was really inefficient. Oh man, I got this again. I wish this guy wasn't here. I'm gonna play this just to have something to play. I don't want to play any of these until I have the ability to, like, do better things with it. I might be playing a little too slow here, but I'm gonna be optimistic. That thing gets a lot stronger now since I don't have any planes anymore. Playing slow against Japan is usually a terrible plan, but whatever. Okay, that's now a good idea. You can put this out, and now these things are cheaper. I can actually play both of them. And now it's worth it. Cool. Oh, yeah, he wins. Shit. Oh, well. This is why you don't slow play against Japan. Okay, hopefully we won't play against Japan this time. I've taken 3 losses today, and all 3 of them have been Japan. Oh, were we? I didn't even see the guy's name. Okay, Britain. This should be a great matchup for me. The British are the slowest faction. They have really heavy armor and a lot of stuff with guard, but they're very slow to deploy. And I think I like this setup to start with. We're just going to keep that. Okay, it's Germany with, or it's Britain with Germany. This guy's a good counter to this unit. If I can force him out, it'll counterattack. If. I'm going to play this card, slow him down. So now airdrop is really expensive. And I don't have ambush yet. It's already veteran. It can't be veteran again. And it costs 1, which means that once I deploy the Flammpanzer, I'll be able to just immediately destroy it and then take the front rank. So I'm going to wait. Not deploying Pioneer just yet, because I want to buff something with it. Okay, good. He's not even attacking. This is a very typical card for Britain. Coldstream Guards. It has guard, low attack, high defense. So I can't directly attack his HQ. Also, it adds naval support to your hand, which is a cost 2 card that makes your attack be equal to your defense. So this can become a 4/4 if he wants. Which is almost certainly what he will do, unless he has a better choice for that, which is often the case. That was a very good turn for me. Destroy a 2/2 and get to deploy my own unit, which is also strong. Like, 3/3 is nothing to sneeze at. That guy has Blitz, but he can't use it yet. Okay, so I have options here. I think what we're going to do is put these two up here, and then deploy the Pioneer. Because now this thing is a 3/4, which he can destroy with the Panzer 3, but then he takes 3 damage. And this thing has ambush, so it'll shoot first. He can also destroy that with the Panzer, but again, he's taking 3 damage if he does it. Either way, I think that's a reasonable turn for me. This thing costs 4. Both of these things are cheaper than that. Haha. He gave that salvage. Interesting. Does he want to duplicate this, though? He has the Flampanzer now, so he can dislodge either of these if he wants. Oh, that was pretty inefficient. That is not something I would have done. I don't think I want to play Wolfpack here. I'm not going to play the T-34 until I can also play the Hurricane. And I'm not going to play the Shug until I can play the T-34. So I've got an order here that I think is going to be sensible. I think instead I'm just going to play Daring Strike and remove this guy. I don't want you to have Fury and Salvage anymore. It shouldn't take me that long to be able to play these, because I'll have 6 next turn, and I'll probably just play the Dornier if nothing else happens. Which it might, we'll see. I might also just remove whatever he plays next with Wolfpack. Oh, yep, that is worth removing. So this is a 6/6 with heavy armor. I think you don't get to have that yet. It costs 6 to play, so if you really want that, you gotta play it again, buddy. You discarded the Flampanzer. Yes! Alright! No nonsense for you. Oh, that's pretty good. So now I get both of these cards, but they also are cheaper. Play this. And then we play this. And I can immediately just kill this if I want, which is pretty cool. And I'll only take 3 in return. And I'm going to Daring Strike the Spitfire so that even if he shoots at my Hurricane, he still dies. And probably next turn I'll play the Shug and target this thing if it's still alive, which it might not be. I'll also probably move up with the Pioneer if he doesn't take the center. Okay. Oh boy, we get another one. Well, in that case, I think I'm just going to move up here, and then I'm going to play both of these, and I'm going to give this one heavy armor with the Chadug. Yeah! Heavy armor 2, baby! We got it! If he wants to get rid of that, he has to use one of his fighters for it, which is really inefficient. It's not what he wants to do. Next turn, we probably drop the Dornier. Because I've got a fighter protecting it. And hopefully at least one of these fighters will be destroyed on my next turn. That is a reasonable thing to do. He shoots my HQ. Interesting. So I get this now, which means this thing will have 6/6 and heavy armor too. Jesus. And I'm going to use this one to destroy the Focke-Wulf, so that next turn I can deploy my Dornier. Do I move up with the other one too? Or do I play this? Don't have a whole lot of time to decide. I think I do this. I don't really need that plane. It's a shame that this deck doesn't have any ability to repair these guys. If I were building this deck myself, I would definitely have done that. Assuming that Germany and Poland actually have cards that repair. I don't recall offhand if they do. I think my opponent is not very happy. So I'm going to pin this guy. So now you don't get to attack. And then I will deploy my Dornier. This is definitely not over because I still have to dislodge a bunch of pretty tough units. But I'm getting there. Does this guy have guard? Yeah, he does. Guard and salvage. Ugh. Gross. Okay, now the guard units are gone. You start hammering him next turn. Hopefully. I would love to have been able to play this. Oh, that sucks. Just straight up removal for air units. Oh well. It happens. I think it was a good idea to put so many of these guys in my deck. Oh yeah, that thing. Let's do this. Oh, perfect! That is exactly the sort of thing that I needed right now. What's the best way to take advantage of this? That's a mutual kill. I shouldn't do that. That's free. This is probably worth it. Let's do that. I could also move up with this tank, which is kind of dangerous, but then also this guy might just die anyway, so... Not the worst idea, I don't think. And then I'm just gonna put everything into the HQ. His HQ has a lot of defense. That was a really good time to draw the Pioneer. This is what I was saying, that the Pioneer is pretty slow, but it has a really good late game effect. He has to trade out 1-for-1 on his tanks, which is not a good idea for him, because these tanks are very expensive. Oh, right, this one also has heavy armor. Never mind. Come on, deploy something. Make this worth it. Wow, okay. That is a very unusual use of that card. If you were gonna do that, you... whatever. We have the King Tiger! Do I want to use it? I kind of can't. If I do, I lose. Damn. Oh well. Sucks. We'll do it next turn. Come on, deploy something. Okay, there we go. That was not particularly worth it. Also, ouch, he's winning. Fuck. This thing has Blitz, so I can at least defeat one of his units. Okay. I can't believe I have this thing and it's impossible for me to play it. That sucks. That's what I was saying, it's kind of a meme choice, this thing. Oh, man. This is not good. Oh, that's no help at all. Whatever, I'll play it. Go, memes! No, the meme could not save me. That's honestly pretty emblematic of what happened to Germany historically, right? Because, like, Hitler spends all of this time and money building these endless, like, stupid, expensive Wunderwaffen to try and win his stupid, hopeless war. And in the end, all it did was cost Germany a ton of money and time and resources. I don't know if I've said this anywhere, like, online before, but I am very, very happy that the Germans decided to build, like, the Bismarcks and the rest of the surface navy, to be honest. Because they were useless. Like, they were... It was a total waste of time and resources. All it did was, like, stroke Hitler's ego and make him think he had a big dick. But it didn't really accomplish anything to do that, when they could have, like, put that money into U-boats or something else more useful. It made the war easier for the Allies, in practical terms. And in that regard, I'm very glad they did it. Thanks, Germany. Like, I gotta love the Bismarck-class battleship and the King Tiger and the Jagdpanther, because these things were stupidly expensive and terribly inefficient. It was a massive waste of time and resources. Okay, this is not a particularly good start. I definitely don't want this to begin with. This is pretty oppressive early game. And I don't know that I want this until I have something to pair it with. Oh, this is pretty bad. All 4 orders in my hand to start with is awful. That is a sign this deck has too many orders in it. I don't think he's going to move this to the front line, at least not anytime soon. He probably won't move it first. But he might if I don't have a unit out. So you know what? We're going to do this. And that's it for now. I'm going to wait to deploy U-48 until I have a better situation. That's a really bad idea. I would not have done that. If you want to trade out, that's fine with me. And then there's virtually no downside to doing that. Because that basically just means I'm destroying a unit with Blitz. Or I'm otherwise wasting his time, which is ultimately what happened. Okay. Ugh. Man, my draw has been terrible. I'm just gonna play this and hope I draw better cards next turn. Ugh. I also really don't want to miss out on this thing's deployment ability. But I really don't think I can afford to not have a unit out anymore. So we're just gonna do that. And then I'm gonna be sad. Fortunately, it seems like my opponent is also drawing poorly. Otherwise, I would definitely be overwhelmed by now. It's pretty rare that you can afford to have no units out on, like, turn 4 in this game. Most of the time, your opponent will have, like, 1 and 2 cost units that they're putting out pretty early. Unless they draw very poorly like I did. And evidently like my opponent did. I'm probably going to use Daring Strike and just kill this. Unless I draw something useful. Which at this point I'm not counting on. I don't know why my opponent's timing out here. How many options must he have with 2 credits? Okay, that's maybe worth it. He does not have a good way to get rid of that right now. I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to delay, because if he wants to remove this thing, it will also kill his infantry. And then next turn I put down the Hurricane, and this guy gets +1/+1. Okay, you can do that if you want. That unit costs me like 3, I think, so you spending a 4-cost order on it is not a good idea for you. These are now free. So if I play both of them, then this guy dies and I get to move up and attack directly with a 5/5. That seems worth it. I could even put Rally on it, but I don't think that's a good idea right away. I will activate Scatter Tactics in case he blitzes. If nothing changes, then I probably rally next turn and attack the HQ with both. Germany doesn't have a lot of guard units, so it's very possible that I can pull that off. Okay, that's a bigger priority. That's a 5-strength bomber with Fury. I am going to give my big tank +1 heavy armor, though. That's worthwhile. My opponent must not have a lot of good options if he's choosing to drop down a bomber like that with no defenders. Usually you don't play bombers with your opponent on front line unless you don't have a choice or there's like some other better option. No, there's no other better option, rather. This thing cannot damage my tank. Here I don't think he knows that this thing won't... oh boy! Heavy armor 3! We did it! We did it, Reddit! Amazing. 0 damage in return. I love it. Three is the maximum, by the way. You can't have heavy armor 4, thankfully. No, my heavy armor's gone. Whatever, it happens. There we go. Stop me from winning. Do it. I still have heavy armor 1, so he can't destroy me with that tank. Okay, that'll stop that one. What can he deploy for 5 that will stop me from moving up and hitting his HQ? Nothing! Yeah! There we go! It seems like so far the, like, Polish tank battalion with massive armor buffs strategy has been much more effective than my, like, discard strategy. Like, the discard thing doesn't seem to be working very well, but the tanks definitely are. If I ever make more than 30 decks for this game, it is officially time to stage an intervention. God damn it, all orders again. We'll keep Blackout, I suppose. That's only air units, though. It does replace itself. Alright, well, we'll see if you also got all orders. Haha, no you don't. And my deck still sucks. That's Italy, I think. Yeah. I can pin it, though. That's neat. So I'll be able to do this thing. Very descriptive, I know. That's a pretty neat trick that this thing has. I kind of like it. Dealing 3 damage to this thing doesn't seem worth it to me. I think we'll deploy this. Kind of hard to dislodge. That's not worth it. If he wants to take that trade out, then that's fine, I guess, but I'm not going to do it myself. Guess he has a few of those. Fair enough. Okay, here goes that trick. Let's see if I can use it to save myself, because right now I'm looking at 7 damage to my HQ coming in. Oh, that's bad. That's real bad. Can I do anything about that? I'd have to destroy both of these units to get rid of it. That's pretty bad. 2, 3, 4. So I could deploy one other thing, I guess? Yeah, this is just a pretty bad situation. Well, if I don't do that, I lose, so I guess I should do that. And delay. Well, Well, that's game. So that deck had some pretty obvious weaknesses, as you could see in those last couple games. As it turns out, this is way too many orders. This deck has I don't actually know how many, but there's several orders in this deck such that I was able to get you know, too many orders in my opening hand, and that's a problem. I am going to spend my other 20 gems, or whatever they're called, diamonds, to play another one of these, and then we'll call it a night. So here my options are Japan, Germany, and Britain. I am not good at all at playing Japan, but I also have not seen a lot of their elite units, which could be fun. Let's do that. Alrighty, so we're starting off with orders, which is not usually what you want. This could be potentially useful. I think I'm just going to take one order. This is a decent one, just 1 damage. And it helps if I have air units, which is something that Japan is pretty good at. Okay, now I have units. This unit is basically just fuck you, Britain in particular. And I like that. This could be crazy, potentially. I'm going to try this, I think. Okay, so my allies can be Italy, Germany, or Britain. I have also never seen a lot of Italy's units. Let's go Japan, Italy. This is something that is very often going to be true of Japan. This is a great idea, but usually not for Japan. I think we'll go with this. And another one of these, I think. This is a great unit. 2-3 with Blitz is very, very good for 3, especially considering that destruction effect. Three Alpine units with Guard. That's pretty nice. Out of the Mist is also very strong, though. I think we'll take that. I need to be mindful of how many orders I'm putting in my deck, but I think that's a good one to have. If this thing's attack gets buffed, then that really annoys my opponent. This buffs all of my infantry. And it's a 3-3, that's not too bad. Let's take that. I can have cavalry. And this thing is a 1-0 with Blitz. And it gets better if it damages the HQ. That's kind of cool. I'm not going to turn down a 1-0. That is a really easy unit to use. And it is definitely better than cavalry. Sorry, Italy. We got 3 order choices here. This is extremely situational. I think I'm going to go with Honor. 1-2 with Alpine is interesting. I also like Scouting Party. 33rd Recon is a good card. This thing is flexible. Blitz and Fury if you have more units, otherwise it gets Guard. And a 3-4 with Guard is pretty nice. I'm hesitant to go with Alpine unless I have a bunch of other things that also have Alpine, and this unit I don't think is good enough to justify that. So we're going to go with Scouting Party. This is an order, but it does at least give me 2 units, so that's fine. This is also an order that doesn't really clog my deck. Just gives me more cards. This thing has a deployment effect that sucks. I'm going to go with the Reorganize, I think. And I'm going to do my best now not to put any more not to put any more cards in my deck. Or not to put any more orders in my deck. I don't understand how this works. I don't like any of these. I guess we'll pick this and we'll see if it actually does anything. God damn it, more orders. I'll take Surprise Attack. And fine, I guess we'll take a 3-6 with Guard. That's reasonable. Oh man, it really wants me to take Cavalry. Come on. Because if I don't take Cavalry, I have to have multiple additional orders in the deck. It sucks. This is so hard to use too. Ugh, gross. Fine. You can have Cavalry, Italy, whatever you want. This thing has Blitz and Salvage for 1-1. That's pretty cool. This thing also deals damage to random enemies and pins them, which is kind of irritating. I think we're going to go with this. It's an interesting choice. Don't I already have this? No, I turned this down. This allows me to give Smokescreen to something else. Is there something else that I would want to have Smokescreen? I guess maybe the Chiha. Or the Chiro. Either one of those would be okay with Smokescreen. Otherwise, no. I think not really. I don't want this. Okay, I guess we'll get Saruga. These are interesting choices. It's pretty hard to turn down a fighter with Ambush. The 0 is usually pretty good. Let's do it. And do I want the complete set of Tsuruga Regiment? I guess. I certainly don't want 2 more of these, do I? No way. It had to give me these in the same choice. Okay. Guess we'll take this and get Blitz. Man, Italy really is not helping me very much here. I only have 2 Italy cards. Maybe Italy is not a good combination with Japan. I think that's what we're learning here. This is pretty good. Hey, 3 Italy choices. Thanks, Italy. Wow, that's a really bad idea for Japan. That's also a... Man, yeah, okay. Italy is a really bad ally for Japan, as it turns out. Well, actually, you know what? No, this is... I was reading this backwards. This is actually fine for Japan, usually. We'll try it. Oh man, Tora 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 is one of the best orders in the game. It's kind of hard to pass that up. Okay, sure. And we'll finally put an Alpine card in this deck. I don't know how many Alpine cards I still have. Hopefully one of these will have it. Nope, they sure don't. Hey, we got the elephants! Yes! Do I want that or do I want this? No, I think I want elephants. There we go. Well, this deck is gonna suck. I expect to win none of these. Here we go. This is a much better opening hand. I don't need Reorganize immediately, but the other things are good here. We get to see what the Soviet Union usually wants to do. The last Soviet opponent we played didn't really do that, I don't think. But this guy's deploying light infantry. So I think I'm going to play Tora 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 here, because I do not want to salvage that. That's kind of a waste. I'm going to play this now, because it'll give me the +1. I'm totally okay with that trade out. That thing was a little scary. Cool. Yeah, I think I want to do this. Let's capitalize on this advantage while I still have it. Next turn I'll be able to deploy Taipei Regiment. And if I can put this out, he can deploy immediately, and then on the next turn I'll be able to shoot the HQ twice. Oh man, it's amazing they had that many of those. Guess what? I have more. Now, whichever one you shoot at, it's gonna kill. If he's not silly, he'll shoot it with this one. If his deck construction isn't ridiculous, I can expect him to have T-34 tanks in this deck, since this unit is here. You can see with this deck the sort of thing that Japan generally wants to do. It's dubious whether Italy is contributing very much to it, but that's what you're supposed to see in a Japan deck. Just relentless, rushing at the enemy and taking them apart. I think the 4 additional HQ damage is worth it here. I lose this unit, but this unit also isn't helping me very much right now. And now I've put my opponent in a pretty serious problem. I'm like, he can advance, but if I draw anything useful, he's in trouble. Oh, right, this thing. Ugh, I hate this unit. This thing gives +1/+1 to everything else you own, as long as it exists. And it's a 3/9. It costs 7 to deploy, so it's not cheap, but goddamn. I don't really have a good way to solve this problem, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't really do anything here. Shoot. That is odd. What is this? Oh, okay. Hey, there we are! I finally drew something useful. We're gonna get rid of you. Bye! Also, we're gonna get rid of you. That is a good trade for me. Oh, do I win? Yeah, I think... no, I'm 1 short. Shit. It's very close, though. Oh, no, right, he has double guard, actually, so never mind, that was not close, as it turns out. Is this thing more useful than a random other card in my deck? Probably not. That would have been nice earlier. I told you this was going to go very poorly. This deck is not very good. I'm not very good at playing Japan to begin with, and this deck in particular is not helping because Italy is not pulling its weight at all. See? Thanks, Italy! See, Italy was secretly fighting for the Allies the whole time. I'm so happy that he did that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good riddance. Okay. The new plan is to never draw any Italy cards. It shouldn't be that hard, right? Like, there's not that many of them in the deck. You'd think since Japan and Italy were part of the Axis and were both part of the Axis in real life that, like, you would make them play a little bit better together in the game. But no, like, Italy and Japan just don't work at all together. Granted, I think by the time Japan enters the war... No, Japan and Italy were allied. I was going to say, I think by the time Japan entered the war, Italy had already bowed out, but no, that's not true. Haha, I will salvage your salvage. What do I want to do here? I could pin this tank, and then I get to move up with both of these with impunity. He trades out one of them, and then I get to attack back. But what am I attacking for? I don't know. I think we'll put this up. And then this will be there as just straight up cannon fodder. And if you are going to attack it, you have to attack it with the unit that's more valuable. This thing now damages itself. Thanks, Italy. Well, I have to deploy, I guess. Otherwise it will. That's so bad. There we go. Mutually assured destruction. What does this thing do? Gives a random unit when it dies. Okay. Is reorganize good here? Yeah, I can get rid of this. Salvage units are not worth it, usually. Ah, there we go. I replaced it with a proper one. I think this is going kind of okay, mostly because I haven't played very many Italian cards. Oh, that stinks. I guess I'll trade out one of these. Oh, shoot, he can shoot it down with that. Shoot. It's fine. More bodies. We're Japan, that's what we do. That is a scarily accurate description, Kyle. Oh, that's helpful. I still can't deploy this thing because it'll get blown up, but that's fine. This thing cannot attack the HQ, so... What does this do? Oh, okay. Oh, that happens automatically. Interesting. Alright, I kind of like that. Let's draw 4 cards. What do I want to discard? Probably one of these. Oh, this is the salvaged one. Yeah, let's discard that again. Am I okay with that? I guess I am. Aha, here's an idea. Neat. Good job. You did your thing, now you're dead. Ah, okay. Oh man, he's got another one? Come on. At least I have a guard unit. Go ahead, kill me. Okay. Guess he's also got that idea. Oh, this is a good idea. Some of the value is lost because he has no cards, but that's alright. I still get to summon 2 units. Both the zeros have guard. Or have ambush, rather. But I can at least get rid of his guard unit. Oh, shoot, I lose. Darn it! Yet another ignominious loss that I plan to blame entirely on Italy. Obviously, that was all Italy's fault and not mine. Alright, let's see if we can get at least one win with this piece of shit deck. One more time. This is a good start. I have no play here. It's actually a really bad idea to be trading against this thing because it ramps if I'm not dealing more than 1 damage to it. Which I won't be because it's this unit doing it. Unlike in real life, the Buffalo is actually pretty good in this game. This will take care of it, though. Oh boy, okay. Not what I was expecting. I will salvage that, though. I think that's a useful thing to have. His HQ is looking at 12 damage next turn if he doesn't do anything. Which he did. Okay. Do they both stay pinned? Oh, they do. Ouch. I don't know whether I want to deploy this or whether I want to just leave it. That deployment effect is really irritating, potentially. I think I will actually deploy it. And then we'll play Tora Tora Tora. This also deals an extra damage, which went to the Buffalo, which is exactly what I wanted. Now I'm going to play Reorganize, I think, and I'll get rid of the Tsuruga Regiment, because that one's not very good. Excellent! Did exactly what I wanted. Can't always count on that, but sometimes it works. And anything I deploy is going to get destroyed by that, so I think I'm just going to stop here. It was a good turn. That's fine. Ordinarily, it's a really good strategy to play naval support on artillery or bombers, but obviously that's not a good plan here, because it would weaken his unit. This will allow me to trade out there, which I think is a reasonable idea. It still damages his HQ, because I'm Japan. And that is what Japan does. And now this unit dies regardless. I think I'll deploy this. It's very hard to justify laying this down. And speaking of which, let's just say no to that. Fucking Italy, I hate you! It can at least deploy and then immediately attack because it has a blitz, because it counts as a tank for some stupid reason. So now what's going to happen is, at the end of his turn, I get this deployed for free. He has no opportunity to respond to that. Unless he plays a countermeasure, I guess. Which he could do, I guess, but it's kind of unlikely. This thing forces his units to retreat if it dies. Yet another Italian unit that's garbage. Bye! See? Italy can suck for you, too! I don't know why you would ever play that card. It's so bad. Oh, right, he's pinned. I'm surprised that was his choice. Okay. I would have assumed he'd shoot down the plane, but fair enough. I guess he does get to play another naval support because I made this retreat. I think it was still worth it. I'm gonna get rid of this thing. I've had enough of you. That's probably trading down, but in practical terms, that unit was pretty valuable. And it was guarded. He's Britain, so he probably has another unit with guard. That also works. I don't know why he didn't deploy this guy there. Oh, right, because then he'll get a random US unit there. Fortunately, he doesn't get the suppression benefit from that. Okay. Guess if you want to do that, you can do that. Oh, that was the order he copied. Damn. Well, that sucks. That is the worst possible time to draw that card. Terrific. I'm taking 9 damage here. That's not good. At least 9 damage. You might be able to buff them somehow. Oh, yeah, you sure can. That's 16. Yeah, I'm GG. There we go. 3 straight losses. Thanks, Italy. Italy, you're the worst. I hate you. Rewards, 1 pack. Well, it wouldn't be card games if I weren't opening random packs of cards. So before we call it a night, let's go ahead and do that. Oh look, it's an Italian card. I bet it sucks. It sure does! Jagdpanther, that does not suck. That's a good card. Oh cool, I like that unit. Of these, I think this is the only one I care about. Alright, well, that'll about do it for me tonight. Sorry, Italy. You know what? No, I'm determined to win a game as Italy. Here we go. I'm going to pair Italy with a deck that is better for them, which is going to be Germany. Okay, so what are the best Italian cards I can put in it? And by best, I mean the least bad. Probably this is going to be Alpine, because Alpine is pretty good, and that's, like, the only thing they have that isn't bad. We'll deploy this and this. That's pretty good. Sure. Oh my god, I really don't want to use this thing. Fuck this tank. This is the worst tank. Why would anybody use this thing? Unless you deliberately want your army to retreat. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only reason I can imagine why anybody would want to use this. This is okay, I guess. Put another one of these in. And I'm going to put 4 copies of Vanguard in this deck. And Human Torpedo is a pretty good removal card. We are absolutely not putting this in the deck. Okay, Germany. What do I have that has Alpine? There's some Alpine things. Whoops. Oh, come on. There. Okay, that's a reasonable number of things in my deck that have Alpine, so I guess that's okay. What else goes into this deck? Do I have any German wildcards? I do, actually. I have 2 standard ones. Okay, let's see. What could I get that has Alpine? Filter by standard. There we are. Oh, there are no other common cards that have it. Does anything have it that I already own? Yes, the Gebirgsjäger. I'm going to take one more copy of this. Because I like the scaling better than I like the big number. This card's pretty cool. Do I have the Panzer 1B already? Is that a card I own? I assume I do. I guess it's not common. No, I actually don't have that card. Interesting. I would have thought I did. I also have a limited wildcard that I can use for anything, which I am loath to use on Italy, but I will if I have to. Does Italy have any good cards that I can get with that? Maybe. Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to make this. And then I'm going to make this. That gives me too many Italy cards. I mean, arguably, any Italy cards is too many. We'll get rid of this thing, I think. So now I've got a lot of Alpine stuff in this deck, and the ability to get more if I need it, so... I think that might put me in good shape to have this deck not be completely garbage. Let's just put the rest of... Let's just make the rest of this out of, like, things that are, like, actually good. I don't really need extra operation cost here. Maybe this is good in this deck? I don't really have any cheap stuff. Let's add some one-cost units. Pack 36 is okay. Some Pioneers. Maybe 2 of the Pioneers and 2 of the 2As. I would really like to have the other one, the Panzer 2B, I think it's called. But I don't own that card yet. Spoils of War is good, and this is a nice way to get it. I like this thing. I've already got maximum Alpine. This thing is pretty cool. I like this idea. We'll take Blitzkrieg. We'll take Eagle Claws. A couple of those. I need 5 more cards. I don't have anything that's really expensive here. This is not really a tank deck. Maybe I want airplanes. This thing is pretty good. Put in 2 of those. I like this BF-109 a lot. 1 more unit. We'll do it for the meme. Tiger 1. Unfortunately, I don't have the King Tiger yet. Otherwise, I would definitely put that in there for the memes. But there we are. Let's go with this utterly awful German deck. Alrighty, and then we can set our card backs, show off, keep the Luger. Alrighty, let's play around with this thing. On casual, because I have no confidence in this deck. Here we go. That's an annoying thing to put down first. Still not deploying, huh? Okay. That's irritating. Just deals 1 damage to all of those units each turn. Wow, that's kind of a waste of that. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to put this effect on this guy until he's at the front line. Assuming he gets there. That was a wise choice. If you want to destroy my bomber, you can, I guess. I don't care that much. So far, I haven't deployed any Italian units, I don't think. Also, I'm doing well. This might not be a coincidence. Interesting. Ooh, I got too many cards. Oh, okay, that's fine. That is a little annoying. Wow. Gross. So I think I understand what this guy's deck is supposed to do. Fine. Interesting. Wow, you get to attack right away with that? Huh. Ugh, that's really annoying. That is the right choice to pin. If I move up, it would just be for the sake of deploying this, and I don't need to. Ugh. Shit. Well, at least this thing gets to shoot twice before it dies. Or more if I can find a way to buff it. Man, I would really like to reset that thing. But I can't, at least not yet. And he would be really silly not to... Or he would be really silly to do anything with that before this thing dies. Although I think I will get one more turn with this. So, we'll see. Maybe it'll be useful. I don't know. Damn. Okay, that's actually helpful. I can now use this, finally. Oh, I see. Could really use a tank, you know? But no, guess I'm playing this as a 4-4. I'm not going to deploy both of them. This deck has a tremendous amount of control, but also my HQ has 39 health. So, I'm not sure how he wins exactly. Ooh, that's mean. Oh, you're pinned, right. And now my HQ has 41. That's a very rare situation where giving a unit blitz is helpful. I get to deploy the tiger! Nice! Pin that! Dickhead. Oh, and now he gets to salvage it. That's great. I have no other Alpine units. Terrific. I'm so glad that this applied, or that this got drawn now. That's great. Please draw a tank. That is not a tank. Does kind of work, though, I guess. Oh, great. I drew the worst Alpine unit in my deck. Figures, I suppose. Fine. Deploy it as a 4-4 and then lose. Well, that happened. All right. Well, unfortunately, I'm ending it on a kind of sour note, but that's what you get with Italy. Italy blows. We have now learned this. All right. Have a good night. I'll see you later. There. That's the right one.